On December 17, 2015, a shocking discovery was made in a remote woodland area near West Calder, on the outskirts of Glasgow. In a shallow grave, human remains were uncovered, marking a critical juncture in a chilling investigation. The initial examination of the remains revealed a disturbing scene. Fragments of a spine and skull were so fragmented that authorities initially doubted their human origin. However, this grim finding soon led to a breakthrough. The remains were identified as belonging to Martin Hamilton, a notorious figure who had long dominated Scotland's criminal landscape. Martin Hamilton, infamously known as the Blackhill Butcher, had been one of Scotland's most wanted criminals. The gruesome nature of his death suggested a violent end, possibly occurring as far back as April of the previous year, well before his remains were discovered. Hamilton's story, characterized by a fearsome reputation in the underworld, culminated in this macabre conclusion. The question arose: how did Hamilton, a man who had carved a notorious niche in Scotland's criminal world, come to such a dreadful fate? Hamilton's notoriety stemmed from a career steeped in brutality and violence, making his demise a topic of intense scrutiny. Born in the Maryhill area, Hamilton's early years were spent close to the Cranston Hill police station in Anderson, Glasgow. This proximity to law enforcement was ironic given his future criminal endeavors. In 1984, Hamilton found himself entangled with the law for the first time, resulting in a 6-year prison sentence for assault with intent to cause severe injury and for carrying an offensive weapon. Despite his relatively small stature, standing at just 5 feet 5 inches, Hamilton's presence was anything but diminutive. His physical appearance belied the ruthlessness that defined his reputation. He was known for his rapid-fire speech and an unassuming demeanor, traits that made him all the more dangerous. His early years were marked by an aura of fear. His schoolmates went to great lengths to avoid him, illustrating the extent of his intimidating presence. The 1990s marked a period of increased notoriety for Hamilton. 2 separate shootings near his Glasgow residence garnered media attention, with the Glasgow Evening Times dubbing him Scotland's most hated man. This label stuck with him throughout his criminal career. In 1992, Hamilton, then 30, faced trial at the High Court in Stirling, along with 3 others, for conspiring to rob a branch of the Dunfermline Building Society in Analyses. The prosecution described their plan: breaking into the building with a key, armed with knives and an imitation handgun, and coercing the staff into surrendering over £30,000. The attempted robbery quickly devolved into farce as the perpetrators realized they had walked into a trap. Within minutes of entering the building, it became clear that the entire city seemed to be aware of their actions, leaving the would-be robbers isolated and exposed. Despite his reputation for violence, Hamilton was not considered a major player in Glasgow's criminal circles during the 1990s. His involvement in drug dealing and armed robbery did not elevate his status among the city's more influential figures, who avoided him due to his unpredictable and volatile temperament. As Hamilton reached his late 30s, it became apparent that his reign of terror in Glasgow was winding down. Following his release from prison for the botched robbery, Hamilton found himself under close surveillance by the Glasgow police. His movements were monitored closely, and he was forced to relocate. In 1998, Hamilton shifted his focus to Edinburgh, where he began to carve out a new territory in the city's drug market. This transition marked the beginning of a new chapter in his criminal career, one that would eventually lead to his tragic end. By 1998, Hamilton had made a strategic move from Glasgow to Edinburgh, seeking to exploit the city's drug market. His shift in location was driven by a fallout with Glasgow's criminal elite, particularly after he had been given a firearm and an advance payment by the infamous Arthur Thompson. Hamilton was tasked with eliminating rival gangster Paul Ferris, but instead chose to inform Ferris of the plot and absconded with the cash. This audacious move did not sit well with the Glasgow underworld and marked the beginning of Hamilton's decline in his former stomping grounds. Hamilton's violent tendencies and brutal reputation continued to shape his criminal activities in Edinburgh. His new base of operations included areas such as Wester Hailes and Sighthill, where he began to dominate the local drug trade. The Lothian and Borders Police initially had little information about Hamilton, but his brutal tactics, including assaults on low-level drug dealers, quickly drew their attention. His reign of terror in Edinburgh was marked by extreme violence, as he used fear and intimidation to control the drug market. Hamilton's operations extended beyond drug dealing. He also exerted pressure on local business owners and publicans, demanding protection money and using violence to enforce his control. One notable case involved an owner who, under duress, paid £30,000 to avoid Hamilton's wrath. Another victim, Billy Sibal, purchased £100,000 worth of drugs from Hamilton, but believed the debt was settled when Hamilton was imprisoned. Sibal's subsequent murder, discovered 3 months later, highlighted the extreme brutality Hamilton employed to maintain his criminal empire. Hamilton's methods of torture were notoriously horrific. He was known for inflicting severe physical and sexual abuse on those who failed to meet their drug debts. His brutality was compounded by a propensity for inflicting pain and suffering, often combining physical abuse with a sexual element. His actions drew significant media attention, especially after a particularly heinous incident involving an 18-year-old couple who were abducted, tortured, and disfigured. This case became a turning point, leading to a high-profile trial conducted under tight security measures to protect witnesses. Hamilton's trial revealed the full extent of his cruelty. Despite being acquitted of some charges, he was convicted on the most severe counts, resulting in a life sentence with a parole eligibility set at 9 years. The sentencing judge, Lord Kingar, compared Hamilton's malevolence to that of notorious child murderer Robert Black. Hamilton's modus operandi involved luring young men into his criminal network with promises of drugs and then subjecting them to severe abuse if they failed to deliver. After serving part of his sentence, Hamilton was paroled in September 2014. However, he vanished by the following year, prompting a nationwide search. Authorities issued an arrest warrant in April 2015, and a public campaign, including an appeal on BBC's Crime Watch, was launched to locate him. Despite these efforts, Hamilton remained elusive until December 2015, when his remains were discovered in a secluded woodland near the Five Sisters Business Park in West Lothian. Speculation about the motives behind Hamilton's murder included theories that he was targeted by Liverpool-based criminals for allegedly defrauding them of £40,000. This theory gained traction when James Farley, a Liverpool native, was arrested and charged with Hamilton's murder in January 2017. Farley, who faced additional charges, including attempting to obstruct justice and drug distribution, denied the allegations. However, his declining health led to his release from prison before he could stand trial. The final farewell to Martin Hamilton was delayed by 8 months due to the ongoing police investigation. In August 2016, a brief memorial service was held at Glasgow's Maryhill Crematorium, attended by a small group of mourners. The death notice painted a contrasting picture of Hamilton, depicting him as a cherished family member and valued friend. In reality, Hamilton's legacy was marked by a history of extreme violence and brutality, leaving a lasting impression on Scotland's criminal underworld. Hamilton's journey, characterized by a pattern of increasing violence and brutality, reflects the destructive path of many who become entrenched in the criminal underworld. His move from Glasgow to Edinburgh, driven by a fallout with Glasgow's criminal elite, and his subsequent dominance in the city's drug market illustrate how the pursuit of power and money can lead individuals to commit unspeakable acts. In the end, Hamilton's legacy is one of terror and brutality, a testament to the far-reaching consequences of a life spent in the shadows of criminal activity. His story serves as a somber reminder of the cost of violence and the often grim fate that awaits those who live by the sword. As Scotland continues to grapple with the remnants of his legacy, the case of Martin Hamilton remains a chilling chapter in the annals of criminal history.